Hello and a warm welcome to PÖFF TV, live here from the 29th Black Nights Film Festival in beautiful and beloved Tallinn. My name is Nikolaj Nikitin. I have the honor of being the curator of the Critics Picks section here at PÖFF, and we are kicking off today. We are opening our section, and I'm very happy to have a wonderful guest here with me from Canada, from the French-speaking part
Yes.
of Canada. Junna Chif, you brought your debut film Invisibles.
Yes.
So, warm welcome here to Tallinn.
Thank you very much.
I hear you've been already here a couple of days. So, before talking about your film, of course, we want to hear how much do you love our beautiful city?
It's absolutely beautiful. I was really lucky to be able to walk around the old city, the creative part, to be by the water. So very impressed by the city.
Great. But now let's talk about your film. As mentioned, it's a debut, so it's the first time that you directed a feature
Feature
film
film, yes.
called Invisibles, and you worked quite long on it. Is that correct?
Yes, in total I spent about 7 years working on it. The first 5 years were mainly for research, because those kind of subject, which is sex workers and the sexuality of people with disabilities, are not my communities. So I needed to research those communities and to be able to understand them better. So I did a good 5 years of research, reading, and especially interviewing people, as well as I went to France to become a sexual assistant for people with disabilities, to be able
Wow.
to understand a bit more that field, because I don't want to talk about something if I don't know about it. And yeah, after that there was the writing of the film, the screenwriting, and I also had a few sex workers helping me writing it, checking if it's accurate what I'm writing, if I don't have cliches or stereotypes, because that was extremely important for me to be as real as possible. And people with disabilities also checking the script. And then there was the filming part. So all that in total, a bit more than 7 years.
Well, we're not gonna spoil anything about the movie, but
No.
let me just praise you because you really managed to do it with a lot of sense and sensibility to present, let's say, this not easy
Hmm.
topic of people with disabilities still wanting to have sex, let's say it out clear, which is a
Yep.
very natural thing.
Absolutely.
Why shouldn't they? So, were you ever afraid that it might go wrong? I mean, that you put yourself under a lot of pressure, not doing just, let's say, a normal kind of pretty woman story, but
Yep.
really going into this extreme setup?
Yeah. Well, I think there's many films that are about the pretty woman, or in the opposite side, about the victimization,
Mm.
both of sex workers and of people with disabilities. So I thought it was interesting to actually see it from a more normal side and more human side, which is down to earth. And I think maybe a bit less of films were made about that. And I don't think many films were also made about the communities of sex working with people with disabilities together. So those two marginalized communities in one film, so
Mm.
coming together. So I'm sure the film is controversial. I know it's going to be. I know it's a subject that people are gonna be either agree with or very strongly disagree. But I think it's good in a film when people have a very deep sentiment or deep feeling about a subject, because that gives discussions, brings to discussions, and maybe brings to opening your mind a bit more.
One reason for me that your film works so well is a casting.
Hmm.
So let's start maybe you with Nadia,
Yes.
who plays the lead. How did you find her? How many girls, women did you see, and what made you click? What made you understand that it's really her, that she's a perfect fit?
Well, she was the perfect fit right away, but I did interview quite a bit of different actresses before, and the process was really the doing an audition, actually, with a person with a disability that is in the film, because I really wanted the actresses to know who they will be working with, to be conscious about that aspect, because I can understand that some people that don't really see many people with disabilities can have some stigma or feel uncomfortable. And when Nadia auditioned, she was actually auditioning for another role, in the film.
Ah.
But she asked if she could audition for that role because she really felt close to it and really felt that she understood the character. And I said, sure, why not? And she auditioned and she was great. Uh, so she has some natural aspect in her playing. I always like to tell actors, play smaller, play smaller. You know, I always like often do smaller, smaller. And that sensibility, she had it right away in audition.
And what about the, let's say, the actors or the characters with disabilities? Are those real people with disabilities? And if so, are those trained professional actors or did you work with non-professionals?
So most of people with disabilities are non-actors. They really have disabilities, except one actor. So all those people with disabilities, most of the time I interviewed them, usually for writing the film, and I eventually proposed to them to work on the film and to be in the film. There's one role which is extremely difficult psychologically to play, and I'm not talking about to play it physically, but I won't spoil it, but there's one character that is important, and he has a very mental way to play, which is difficult for even an actor to play it. So I tried to cast some people with disabilities to play that, as all the other characters with disabilities, so non-actors. But it was quite difficult. So at some point we decided to go with an actor for that one, who eventually looked at many interviews with people with disabilities, had meetings with them, and we did a big work to work that character because I'm conscious about the fact that he doesn't have a disability. So we did everything that was possible to honor it.
Since a couple of years, we know from even normal sets that you have this intimacy coordinator, so people who are on the set and they're always helping out if there's, let's say, explicit scenes, sex scenes, that the actors especially feel comfortable.
Yes.
How did you handle this, and how many people were on the set when it was doing this extremely sensible scenes?
Yeah, so for sure from the crew was absolutely the minimum, was literally the person, the DP, director of photography, at the camera, the sound person, and that was it. Even me, and even me, I was not necessarily in it, or I was turned away, and all the other people were outside of the room. And we had a intimacy coordinator. We also had a person, another woman that was consultant for intimacy, so consultant for intimacy. And we also had, so I'm just telling you all the people who worked for those scenes that were not there necessarily all the time, but that worked for it. And we also had a sex worker who was able to consult us for all the actions. Is it realistic? Because since we're talking about sex working, yes, we can have an intimacy coach, but again, there's still a reality that might be a bit different that people don't know. So during our rehearsals, we had a sex worker also checking out if it's credible, if it's realistic, and if it makes sense.
Yeah, the film has also great look. It's not only the actors, but it's a wonderful work of your DP. So maybe you tell us a little bit, how did you prepare for the visual concept, and also you edited your film yourself,
Co-edited.
right?
Co-edited with an editor. So director of photography, Luca Boutin. I really have a mix in the proposition, so it has really some documentary style approach, because I wanted to feel very raw, really real, with some natural light. Obviously, it's not always natural light and, the magic of cinema, but we really wanted to have a feel very fluid in movement. But we also have some burlesque in the film, which is a little bit more magical. So that was more controlled, more fluid, with some steady cams. So we wanted to have in that film some contrast between documentary style and more private scenes. And when there was more general scenes with more people, that was a little bit more controlled. But the main thing for me, for the intimacy scenes, it was that I really didn't want to have a male gaze approach. So I would never film the actress from higher up. I would always be at her level of her eyes, or even lower. And it was very important for me to never stop on a part of the body, because yes, in the film there is nudity, there is sexual scenes, and I would never stop on a part of a body if it was in relevance. So, but I would not hide it as well. So I would follow often a movement. So if we do see a breast, some skin, it's natural, but without trying to show it.
Well, thank you so much. Unfortunately, we have to slowly come to an end. But
Thank
before
you.
we end, let's say hello to Pierre, because you brought actually your producer with you,
Pierre
Pierre,
Nicolet.
who came also all the way from Canada.
Yes.
And you're going back right after the screening because you have the
Right after.
national premiere in Quebec.
Yes, exactly. We have a premiere tomorrow with all our crew, actors, and community people from the communities. I'm very happy about that.
So we wish you all the best for your film Invisibles, and
Thank
please,
you.
dear PÖFF audience, catch some of the repetition screenings of the fantastic, very strong, and very wide-eyed opening title Invisibles from Canada. See you. Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.